going to record. Yeah. And Karen, who most of you might know, at least from the emails, looks after Tourism Northern Territory's trade engagement and training programs. Both of us work in the international team and our roles are specifically focused on distribution and trade. So we're here to assist you in anything that you need. We're really, really excited about the launch of the new China Southern route, which will commence in December between Guangzhou and Darwin 3 times a week. China hasn't been typically a significant market for Northern Territory, and that's largely due to access. And when we do have Chinese visitors, they tend to go to Uluru rather than the top end. So we're very excited that we're going to be seeing, well, hopefully seeing a lot more Chinese visitors to the top end. Now, because we don't see many at this stage, we also realise that Chinese trade won't have a lot of experience selling the top end. And from what I gather and from the conversations I've had, there's not a lot of product that's contracted. So the purpose of the webinar today is to provide that destination update on the top end, which is specifically Darwin, Kakadu, Litchfield and Katherine. And this will help you better understand the destination and help with itinerary planning. So the format of today, Karen will share a destination overview and also go through some of the product that's available in the different regions surrounding Darwin. If there's interest after this webinar today, we'll organise some additional webinars over the next couple of months where we'll have operators from the top end come and share more detail about their products and experiences such as Kakadu Tourism or Nipaluk. Karen and I are both able to assist in creating itineraries, contracting with product, so please reach out if you need any assistance. And I have heard that China Southern's going to have some very attractive fares available for trade, under 600 Australian dollars return. So I suspect when they launch, there's going to be quite a bit of interest in the top end. So we just want to make sure everyone's ready to have product available for sale. So during today's presentation, we'll have the chat open where you can ask any questions, and then at the end of the session we'll have some time for questions where we can answer them. And then, as I mentioned, Karen and I are available. We've also got Jess and Wendy who are looking after the trade in China. They are able to assist you as well. So thank you for joining us, and I will hand you over to Karen.
Thanks, Em. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, can you see that okay? Yes? All right, so great. Okay. Right, thanks for that intro, Em. So I know that, and as Em mentioned, we're sure everyone's quite familiar with the Red Centre. So today's really just focused on that top end, but where are we? So the Northern Territory, we're top and centre, and we've got the 2 regions, obviously the Red Centre with Uluru that you're familiar with, but also the top end, and that includes Darwin, Kakadu and Katherine. And to a lesser extent today, we've got Arnhem Land and the Tiwi Islands. We're not going to touch on them too much because we think that Darwin, Kakadu and Katherine is going to be sort of that main area that people are going to want to travel to coming in from China. So the top end's very green and lush, and obviously the Red Centre is very hot and dry as it's in the desert. So access coming into the Northern Territory. So obviously we've got these new flights coming in with China Southern, which is really exciting from Guangzhou. So they're going to be flying in on a Wednesday, a Friday and a Sunday. They're going to arrive quite early, just before 6 a.m. and then departing on a Monday, Thursday and a Saturday. So those planes will sit in Darwin overnight, those planes will sit in Darwin and then they'll leave that next day. So those flights are going to be going on a Monday, a Thursday and a Saturday, and we have got some itineraries created that help fit the products into those dates. So those flights are going to be starting on the 3rd of December. Also coming into the top end, we've got flights coming in from Malaysia, from Singapore, and Indonesia as well. And as well as being, Darwin is really well connected domestically as well. We have got flights coming in almost daily from all of the main cities around Australia. In terms of the seasons in the Northern Territory, so the Red Centre, which you're familiar with, has got the 4 seasons, but in the top end it is very different. We have got 2 main seasons. There's the dry season and there's the tropical summer. So we're just coming to the end of the dry season now. The temperatures are up to about 32 degrees every day. It is nice and hot. There's very, very little humidity at this time of the year. In the low season, or the tropical summer that we call it, that runs from November to April, the temperatures are around about the same, but we do have that humidity. So it's quite similar to sort of Southeast Asia kind of weather in the top end. So looking at Darwin, so it's the main city for the Northern Territory, and people come up here for the weather. It's really culturally diverse. There's about 50 nationalities living in Darwin City, and that's really prevalent when you see the food that's on offer. There's a really good multicultural feel to the city. Lots of fantastic Asian food on offer, and there is a lot of Asian cultures living in Darwin, and that's because it is so close to Asia, which is great. There's lots of festivals and events running, especially over the dry season. You can see in the photos here some of the events that they have on offer. So it really is a very vibrant and bustling city, particularly during that time. There's a really strong World War II history up in Darwin, and that is because it was quite heavily bombed during World War II. But it is the gateway to that top end region. So anyone heading into Kakadu, Litchfield, Katherine, Arnhem Land, or the Tiwi Islands, they will all come through Darwin. So I'm going to talk a little bit more shortly about Kakadu and Katherine. Litchfield National Park is an hour south of Darwin, and it is really a day tour kind of destination. There's not a lot of accommodation down there at this point. So coming to Litchfield from Darwin is what we would add into as a day tour offering. So some of the tour operators that we have operating out of Darwin is the Darwin Chinese Travel, and some of you may know Simon. So he is quite new in this region, but it's perfect timing for these flights. So he's at the moment offering charters heading out to Kakadu and to Litchfield National Parks. And this photo here is actually of him in Kakadu about 2 weeks ago with a group that Wendy was hosting with him. So he's going to be great for the Darwin region in terms of having the language and those contacts. So AAT Kings, who you are probably all very familiar with, they do a lot of touring in the top end of the Northern Territory. They are offering charters. They also do day and multi-day touring. Currently, they've got a Darwin City Sites tour. It's a 4-hour morning tour. They do hotel pickups, and they've got a language device on this tour which has got Mandarin, which is really great. This tour heads out to the Darwin Aviation Museum. They go to the Museum and Art Gallery of the Northern Territory, and they also go to the Botanical Gardens. They also do a day tour out to Kakadu. It's a full day tour, and that also has got the language device on it, which is great. They visit the Warringah Cultural Centre. They do the Yellow Water Billabong cruise, and I will talk about these later. They'll have lunch at Coimbra on that tour, and they go to see some of the beautiful rock art in that region. So that is a really great option. But as I mentioned, they do charters, so they do those out into all of those top end regions that are listed there. Autopia Tours are another one of our key operators in the top end, and you might be familiar with them. They do operate all around Australia, and particularly in the Red Centre. So again, they are offering charters and day and multi-day touring, and the destinations that they focus on are Kakadu, Litchfield and Katherine. They've got Mandarin audio guides available too. And Ethical Adventures. So again, they are offering charters and multi-day touring. Now they do a Darwin tour as well as those longer day tours out to Kakadu, Litchfield and Katherine. In terms of actual product, so in Darwin, we've got Crocosaurus Cove. They're located right in the CBD. It's really easy walking to get around Darwin CBD. Actually, a lot of the hotels are located near the shops and the waterfront, so it is an easy destination to get around. So Crocosaurus Cove have got a range of products on offer. They have got their Cage of Death, which is what you can see here, where people get lowered into the water to actually swim right next to crocodiles. It's not for everybody. They do a VIP tour, which is a behind the scenes tour where you get to chat to the animal keepers, you get to hold a baby crocodile. They also do feeding of the larger croc. So they do that with a very large stick and everyone gets to participate in that. So it's a really interesting tour. It's a very popular option. And then they have got a whip ray encounter as well, which is where you can get into the water just up to ankle depth and feed the whip rays, and you can touch them and all that sort of thing. So there's 3 options. You can also just do general entry and wander around and have a look at all the different products on offer. They have got Mandarin translations coming very soon. And this is managed by the Top End Marketing Co, Sally, whose contact details are on the presentation, and we will share this with everybody when we are finished. The Darwin Harbour Cruises is a product run by Journey Beyond, and they have got a dinner cruise, which is a really great product. It's a buffet dinner. It's a 2-course cruise, and it really captures that beautiful sunset that we have in Darwin. It departs from the Stokes Hill Wharf, which is a really central place down at the waterfront in Darwin, where almost all of the cruises will depart from. So this is a great option. They have really great food, and this is something that we promote. We include this in a lot of our itineraries, so it's a really nice option. It being a Journey Beyond product, you know that it's going to be really professional and great. So just heading out a little bit out of Darwin, we've got the Territory Wildlife Park. So it's about an hour south, and it is this huge park. It's about 400 acres, so it's huge, and it's populated with wildlife from the top end region. So it really focuses on any kind of wildlife that you're going to find in that Darwin region. They have got a great range of programs on every day, including the flight deck, which is a really cool bird show. If anyone's ever been to Alice Springs and done the bird show at the Desert Park there, it's very similar to that. They've got the wallaby muster. So this is the wallaby muster in the image here, but everyone can get really close to the wallabies, and it's quite a cool product. And then they do a dingo talk as well. They've actually got quite a few other products on offer as well. People can just wander through the park too. So it's just a really nice, relaxing atmosphere. And they've got a great range of wildlife on offer here. It's also great for group bookings. They get a lot of group bookings, and they've got a cafe there too, so they can do a group lunch too. So it is just a nice, easy option. Now, also a little bit out of Darwin, we have got the spectacular Jumping Crocodile Cruise. So this is an hour east. It's on the way to Kakadu National Park. So a nice option to add in to an itinerary if people are travelling out to Kakadu. Now, this cruise takes place on the Adelaide River, which is this huge river in the top end. They believe there's about 10,000 crocodiles living in this river, but it's actually quite a beautiful, peaceful place when you're there on this cruise. So they do 4 departures of this 1-hour cruise every day, and they do actually feed the crocodiles because they want to get them out of the water to show everybody what they're like. So the crocodiles are very territorial, and they've got their key ones that they visit most days. So they kind of know them by name. They are typically pretty large. So, chances of seeing crocodiles is pretty high on these cruises. So it's a really nice educational but interesting tour. So easy to get to there from Darwin as part of a Darwin tour, or you can include that on your itinerary heading out to Kakadu. Just a little bit about some of the other products that we have on offer in Darwin. So we've got the Royal Flying Doctors service. They've got a tourist facility right on Stokes Hill Wharf, which is where those cruises depart from. And here people get to learn about the Flying Doctors. It's a really important service that's on offer for Outback Australia. It is obviously the Flying Doctors. It's how people who live in the Outback get their medical treatment. In this facility, they do also have a really fantastic virtual reality activity which tells the story about the bombing of Darwin on the 19th of February in 1944. And Darwin was really heavily bombed during this time. So this is really interesting. It's a great product for anyone, really. Children and older people, I think, would enjoy that. We have the big bus in Darwin, so like anywhere, it's like a jump on, jump off bus. They do 12 stops on this, and they do stop off at Croc Cove and a lot of the really key tourist sites, which is really great. And they are really a cost-effective way of getting around Darwin. It's about $50 per person. We've got the Museum and Art Gallery of the Northern Territory, or Magnet as we call it. And it's a really interesting place. It's got an incredible selection of artwork, Aboriginal art. They've got all this interactive art that you can see in the image here. They've also got a really great exhibition on about Cyclone Tracy, which hit Darwin in 1975 and nearly completely destroyed the entire city. So that is really interesting and definitely a must-do. That's free to attend that museum. And then we've got Mindle Beach. So Mindle Beach is actually just along from the from Magnet. It is quite well known. It's kind of a famous thing to do in Darwin, to grab some dinner and sit down on Mindle Beach and watch the sunset. So you can see in the photo here, there's a lot of people there. It's like this every night. So that is, definitely something that we highly recommend. Now, there are some markets that take place. The Mindle Beach Sunset Markets, they run during the dry season from April through to October, and they've got this fantastic range of food on offer. So I mentioned there's a very heavy Asian influence here, so there's lots of amazing Asian food on offer, and people will grab something to eat and then go and sit on the beach and eat their dinner out there. So it's a really nice activity. There's also really good souvenir stalls as well, so people can pick up some bits and bobs from Darwin. The Parup markets are another market. They run all year round. It's on a Saturday. These are a little bit more local, but they are really good. They've got great food, but they've also got really good stalls for knickknacks that you can buy from that local region as well. Back in the CBD, we have got Powers Pauly Pearls. So this is a great place for people who are looking to buy some locally sourced pearls. This is their shop is located right on the Smith Street Mall. And then Aboriginal Bush Traders, they're also located just around the corner actually, and it's a beautiful store with great souvenirs, but and very much their Aboriginal focus. So people can pick up some really beautiful Aboriginal products from there. They've also got a cafe there as well. In terms of the accommodation in Darwin, the next couple I'm going to talk about are located in the CBD. I mentioned earlier, it's very easy to get around. So if people are staying there, they can just pop up to the Smith Street Mall. That's sort of the main shopping area. So the Courtyard by Marriott in Darwin is located on Smith Street, so very handy to the mall. They've got 186 rooms. It's a 4-star hotel. They've got a restaurant there and a pool and a 24-hour reception. So that's a great option. We've also got H on Mitchell. So this is an independent hotel, and they're owned by a company that are from the Northern Territory. And again, really centrally located to the CBD. It's 4.5 star, and they've got their bar and restaurant, their pool, their gym, all those key elements. We've also got 3 Hilton hotels. So the Hilton Darwin is really close to Smith Street Mall. It's only a couple of minutes walk. It's a 5-star hotel, and it's recently had a big refurb. You can see the top 2 images there are from the Hilton Darwin. So that's the biggest of the 3 hotels, and obviously it's the 5-star. We've also got the Doubletree, and it's located on the Esplanade. That's just around the corner. It's not actually that far, maybe a 5 or 10-minute walk from the main shopping area. And then the Hilton Garden Inn, and that's located just beside the Doubletree. So again, another great option. The Garden Inn has recently had a refurbishment as well. And just heading a little bit further out, we have got the Mercure Darwin Airport Resort. So this is located right by the airport. There's a Mercure and a Novotel, and then a huge pool in between them. So the Mercure's had a refurb. You can see here in the image, the rooms are really nice. They're really modern and light and bright. The Novotel will be having a refurbishment at some point, but that hasn't happened yet. So this is only about a 5-minute walk from the airport. This could be a good option for people, for groups who are leaving on those flights back to China, because they're leaving at about 7:30 in the morning. So this obviously is nice and handy. But they've got 181 rooms. They're a 4-star. The room types vary. This is their lead-in room, but they go all the way through to a really cool pool villa that they have. It's a little villa that's got its own private pool, which is pretty nice. But they've got a great restaurant. They've got a couple of restaurants there actually, and a bar. So it's a really beautiful setup at this hotel. And again, it's super close. Could be good for groups coming in late at night, because it's so close to the airport. It's really accessible for those large coaches. Okay, so heading out to Kakadu National Park. So Kakadu, you can see in the map there, it is that little green part. It's off to the east of Darwin. It's a really important place for the Aboriginal people. They've been living there for about 65,000 years, and it's about a 3-hour drive from Darwin. It's probably a little bit longer in a coach, but it's about a 3-hour drive out to Kakadu. It's Australia's largest national park, and it's a UNESCO World Heritage Listed site, so it is really an important place in the Northern Territory. As I mentioned, the Aboriginal culture here is very strong, and it's very important, and it's a great place for people who are interested in bird life. Obviously, there's lots of wildlife here as well, but nearly a third of Australia's bird species live in Kakadu National Park, and this is just some of the typical scenery that you see here in this imagery. It's a really beautiful spot. Kakadu Tourism are our main operator in this region, and the product that I think is most suited for the China market would be the Yellow Water Cruise. So they run these throughout the day. They do a sunrise and they'll do an evening, and there's a couple throughout the day as well, and they vary in times between 1.5 to 2 hours. But it's a really interesting talk about the wetland and the flora and the fauna, and about that Aboriginal culture. Now, Kakadu Tourism also run the Mercure Hotel, which is in Jabiru, which is the main town in Kakadu National Park. It's a very small town. It's got 110 rooms, and they've got a restaurant and a bar. So this is a good option to come in for lunch, maybe with a group. But also the accommodation here is good for groups, because they've got that sort of higher room count. Coonda Lodge is another option for accommodation. That is based out at Coonda, which is actually where the Yellow Water Cruise depart from. That's a little bit more niche, that accommodation, really beautiful, but it's in that beautiful setting that you can see there in those wetlands. Just in terms of some other products that we have on offer at Kakadu, so it is all about the Aboriginal culture here, and the rock art is a really important feature. So the top left image is Barangay, or Norlangi, it's also known as, and this is a rock art site. It's really easy to get to, so it's easy walking, and that has a fantastic range of rock art that you can just see wandering around. And then we have the Arnhem Land Escarpment. So this view is actually from Ubia, which is the other really important rock art site in Kakadu. So, we highly recommend that either one, if not both of these, are included in an itinerary. They've both got easy walking, so they are suitable for all ages. We've also got the Warringin Cultural Centre. This is located near Kawinda. They've got a fantastic range of Aboriginal products for sale. They've got a great gift shop, and there's also lots of information there about the region. And you can often see the local ladies there doing their weaving, which is a really cool thing to be able to see. And then we've got scenic flights as well. So Kakadu Air do flights around the region by fixed wing or helicopter, and you can actually fly out from Darwin by air as well. So heading down to Katherine, so as you can see in the map here, Katherine is to the south. It's about a 3.5 hour drive from Darwin, and it's also about 3 hours from Kakadu as well. And going from Darwin to Kakadu to Katherine, back up to Darwin, is a really nice driving route. I'm going to talk about that shortly in an itinerary. And that's a driving route that we promote as the Nature's Way. So it's just a big loop. It's quite takes in all the very best of what we have in that top end region. So Katherine is really all about that Nipmulluk Gorge, which you can see here in these images. It's a beautiful gorge. Nipmulluk Tours run a range of cruises there. There's really strong Aboriginal history in this region. There's thermal springs. So there's thermal springs in Katherine in the main town, just on the edge, and then there's some at Mataranka and Bitter Springs. They're a little bit further away, and there's a really strong pastoral history as well. So Katherine Outback Experience do this really cool show about sort of horses and life on the land, basically. It's very much focused on that pastoral history in this area. So Nipmulluk Tours, I mentioned they run a range of products. They have got gorge tours. They do an early morning dawn tour right through to an evening dinner cruise, the Ngabalul Dreaming Sunset dinner cruise. The one that I'm going to talk about in the itineraries is the Nitnut Dreaming Two Gorge tour. It's 2 hours, but they take you through these winding gorges. It's really beautiful. You can see in the image here that it is really stunning. They do some cultural experiences as well, and there's helicopter flights on offer too. So there's a lot happening there. They've got some accommodation at the Nipmulluk Gorge at Cicada Lodge. That's their premium offering. It's a really beautiful lodge. They have, I think, about 15 rooms there, and they've also got some cabins. There's a campground and cabins which is located right next door. So that's a good option for a more budget-friendly itinerary. So looking at the itinerary that I've got 3 to go through. So this is a 5-night itinerary, going from Darwin to Kakadu to Katherine. So so basically the flights will come in from Guangzhou at about 6 o'clock in the morning. So once everyone's clear customs, they'll head out on the coach out to the spectacular Jumping Crocodile cruise, and they'll do that before heading out to Kakadu and heading to the Mercure Croc Hotel for lunch. That afternoon, they'll head to Norlangi to see the rock art before heading out to Kawinda to do their Yellow Water cruise. So that night, they'll head back to the Croc Hotel and have dinner and stay there for the night. The next morning, they'll travel down to Katherine. So it's about a 4-hour drive, I guess, from the Croc Hotel. In a coach, it's a little bit slower. Arriving into Nipmulluk for lunch at the visitor centre, and then doing that Nitnut cruise that afternoon before heading into Katherine, staying at the Contour Hotel in Katherine. So this is another good option as well. This hotel is actually in the main town. They've got some good accommodation on offer, and they've got a really nice big restaurant there that they do a lot of group dinners at. So day 3 is leaving Katherine and heading back up to Darwin, but stopping in at the Territory Wildlife Park. So spending a couple of hours there having lunch before heading up to Darwin. And then that night, it's kind of a free night or dinner down at the Darwin waterfront. On day 4, heading out in the morning on the AAT Kings Darwin City Sites tour. That's that 4-hour tour that I mentioned earlier. That afternoon, heading to the Flying Doctors out on Stokes Hill Wharf before having a free evening. And then on day 5, heading to Croc Cove to see those big crocs before having some free time to do some shopping, and then heading out on that Darwin Harbour dinner cruise that night. And then obviously day 6 is that departure back to Guangzhou. With our Darwin Kakadu 2-night itinerary, we know this is a very short itinerary, but that it sort of takes in all the best bits. So arriving in, obviously, from China, heading out to do the Spec Crocs, and then heading out to Kakadu and having lunch at the Croc Hotel. So this is very similar to the itinerary that I've already talked about, and this is really just a shortened version of that. That afternoon they'll head out to Ubia, and then also to Kauhall Crossing, which is this infamous road that travels between Kakadu and Arnhem Land. It's across a river, and as you can imagine, the rivers are full of crocodiles, so it's quite a cool thing to see cars driving through, or trucks driving through, really, and crocodiles all sort of in the area. It is quite a cool sight. That night, dinner at the hotel. The next morning, I'm heading out to Coimbra to do the Yellow Water cruise, having lunch out there before heading back to Darwin, and then that evening doing that Darwin Harbour sunset cruise. In the morning, heading to Crocosaurus Cove, a little bit of free shopping time. And then this is based on an itinerary where guests will then fly off to a different city. So Sydney, Melbourne or Brisbane, and we've got some good flight timings there that leave in the afternoon that work well for this. So in terms of a Darwin and a Katherine itinerary, so again, very much based on that 5-night itinerary, but this is a condensed version. So once guests have arrived, they'll head straight down to Katherine. They'll do the Gorge cruise and then stay at the Contour Hotel that night. The next morning, they'll head off to the Territory Wildlife Park as they head back to Darwin and have their time there. That night, doing the Darwin Harbour dinner cruise. And then on day 3, they'll visit Crocosaurus Cove before heading out to the airport and heading on to those major cities. So in terms of the resources that we have on offer, we have got a page on our website where we are adding information that's relevant for the Chinese market. So at the moment, we have got 5 itineraries there. 3 of them I've already mentioned. There's 2 others. We've also got a list of all the products that are really keen to be working in the China market, and we've got some suggested tours, experiences and accommodation with links to their website so you can learn a little bit more about them, and also some destination information. I think that is it from me. Is there any questions?
After the presentation, well, after today, we'll send out the presentation to everyone, and we'll also share our trade website where you'll find video content, suggested itineraries that you can download. We've got a list of export ready products that are commissionable, but we also have a list of Chinese export ready products. Now, we've defined these as they either have an audio guide or translated materials, and there's a lot of new operators currently looking to tailor and adapt their products for the China market. So we've included those on that list too. So if you do get in touch with them, they'll put together charters for you based on your specific itineraries and things that you know that your clients will like to do. So we've got a couple of months before China Southern starts flying, and I suspect the deals for the fares will launch quite soon. So please do reach out to Karen or myself or Jess or Andy in China if you need any assistance, because we're very happy to help connect you with our operators and try and expedite some of this process of getting product available to Chinese clients. There's no questions. We can finish up and we'll share those details. We might follow up as well to see if there's any interest in doing further webinars to get some of the operators onto the webinar, just to share some information about their products. Okay, seems like there's no questions. So thank you again for attending today. We really appreciate your time.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.